coming in today. And do you mind kind of introducing yourself and
Yeah. So my name is Jack Major. I'm a human resource specialist with CEMEX, which is Cementos de Mexico, which is a concrete aggregates organization that's globally located with a multitude of different career opportunities that are out there for individuals. My main area, like I said, is with human resources, but with a large focus in onto the staffing and recruitment of individuals into our array of different fields that we have that are out there.
that's awesome. And just so I can introduce myself as well, I am Alexa Abris and I'm an industry and campus connector within the Center for Career and Professional Development. So just continuing further, so what led you into this career path?
So what led me into this career path, 23 years retired out of the military. I hit that point where I was like, okay, what's next? I'm still in my 40s and what's the next opportunity for me? I spent my last 12 years recruiting for the military. I have a lot of enjoyment in being able to help individuals out and kind of connecting individuals into different career paths that are out there and opportunities. So when I had the opportunity, I have to tell you, it took me 743 applications, but it's that 743rd one, I always like to say was the breadwinner that gave me the opportunity with CEMEX, and I was afforded it. And I will say honestly, it's probably one of the best careers I've had.
That's awesome. And yeah, it totally is about the journey. So what would you say are the skills that are most valuable in today's job market?
When it comes down to the job skills that are most valuable, it's communication is first and foremost the key element. Being able to have dialogue and conversations with individuals, but knowing how to tailor that conversation and, you know, uh, continue a conversation going, but seek out a resolution to a problem or an issue that's out there, or develop, not being afraid to step in and say, hey, here's a new idea, a new approach to something that we considered doing this before, is having that initiative to take that step forward. So really it's communication, it's the willingness to learn, the willingness to understand that, hey, we don't all know everything, but we can learn. And that's the biggest element there.
So how would you say your industry specifically has evolved in the past 5 to 10 years?
With CEMEX, we're, like I said, we're a global organization that deals in concrete and aggregates, which is aggregates are your components that go inside of concrete, and your building material supplier. So we do things from building blocks, like literally the concrete blocks, to, pouring the cement and concrete that you see in the driveway, foundations of houses. We've really made the turn into going to cleaner supplies and resources, cleaner vehicles, emissions and everything like that, and just advancing the building supplying world, is going forward and trying to be the change difference for everyone.
That's awesome. So what's one common misconception that you believe students have about working in your specific field?
Biggest misconception I would say is that it's going to be easy. It's just going to flow. It's really going to take some time, work, and effort. It's going to take, a couple times you might fail, and you just have to be able to understand and accept that and say, hey, okay, what did we learn from this, and adapt and overcome it. The other aspect is that just because you have a degree doesn't necessarily always guarantee that you're going to get that job. I mean, it takes the time. It's understanding, hey, what are the job qualifications? But it turns into a borderline marketing game. How do you sell yourself to that organization as to why you're the best individual that's out there? Because what we have to keep in mind is there's thousands of applicants, but there's only one position to be filled. And your objective is to put yourself at the very top, to be the one that gets selected. So the biggest misconception I would say is that it's easy. Because
And kind of like build off of that question, what do you suggest for students that want to stand out? Like what should they go and do?
so one of the things is, and like I said, I'm with CEMEX, so I'm going to say it. Okay. Go to our website, jobs.cemex.com. Once again, that's jobs.cemex.com, and go on there, check out the jobs and everything that's there, but join the job board. Get the notifications from the company. Hey, find out what positions are opening, what opportunities are out there. Put your resume inside of it. I will tell you, with our job board, we're constantly looking, we're constantly seeking out and searching individuals to, who's the next hire, who's the next, we know we have a vacancy that's going to be coming up. We're already looking, and I do reference back to success factors 9 times out of 10. Individuals that don't have a resume in there, but have a profile built. It's like, okay, we're looking for that resume to try to match what you have to that just specific job. Just because you applied for, let's say, like a engineering position doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to get the opportunity in another area, because we might have a area manager or a like sales individual that's out there that, hey, you better align with, and we have that conversation to give you the opportunity to do an interview.
Okay, that's awesome. And I know sometimes students are kind of hesitant to even go about applying to multiple jobs within like the same organization. So would you say that has a negative effect if you saw an applicant apply to various positions?
I will say this from this standpoint. Like I said, I deal with all the staffing and recruiting. I have individuals and I see it on there. Hey, how many different positions did they apply for? And I do take that into consideration. I don't look at it as a negative aspect. I look at it as for an aspect because it's depicting to me this individual, the telltale sign is there's no resumes, there's none of that information that's in there. That's telling me that this person's just clicking a bunch of buttons to try to sit there and just get an application submitted everywhere. But when I find the ones that it's like, hey, yeah, he or she has a resume inputted, they have a cover letter that's been uploaded, their information is actually filled out in there, it's accurate, the email address actually works, or the phone number actually works. Those are the individuals that it doesn't matter how many different positions, hey, they might be looking for that opportunity. And, we will afford them that opportunity as long as they're qualified.
That's awesome. So you would say adding a cover letter to any application process within CMEX that would put you above maybe other applicants, or is it kind of still 50-50?
It's still 50-50. It just really depends upon the position that's out there. The cover letters, I've always done cover letters, and every job that I did, I've always completed a cover letter because it's another chance for me to convey to that organization, to that company saying, hey, this is me, and this is why I believe I'm a great fit with your organization. The resumes start to blend together. And, we have the conversation, and I tell individuals all the time, it's like, if you stare at a blank piece of paper long enough with black writing and a white background, guess what? It turns gray. Long enough, it all starts to blur. And that blur is what I say is like when you're constantly reviewing resumes and you're seeing the same things, it all starts to blur together. But having those cover letters a lot of times helps break up that. And there's certain key things you could say, one key word in there that catches the mind, and now you become that idea is planted inside of that individual's head, that recruiter or HR specialist, whoever it is that's reviewing it.
For that insight.
Mhm.
So kind of last question here, kind of just your general advice, like through your journey of going through jobs and everything. So what would you tell a student that's looking to land their first job or internship?
Be patient. Be patient. Patience is a key, and it's a virtue. It's not only going to make you more successful in a career field, it's going to build you up totally overall. But it's understanding that it takes time, that nothing is instantaneous. And if it's that instant, there's a catch. We hear things out there of different jobs that is like, hey, this is 100% commission, or this is that, this is this. You got to do your research, understand it, be patient, understand the companies that you're applying to, take the time, go on there, read about the company, learn about their history, see how long they've been in business for, and focus in on, those key elements, because it'll help you better understand to where you're applying, that you can have those points. They can ask you questions. Hey, what do you know about our organization? Being able to walk in and just talk a little bit about the organization is key, and it's a vital element that's out there. Being able to say, hey, I've seen CMEX my whole life. I've always seen the logo. I've always seen the mark, the trucks driving around and all of this. And, I was just like, why not? And I got online, I put in the application, and, at a time where I thought, hey, this is my patience. I had patience. There's a couple times that, it was it was very nerve wracking. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to retire. I need a second career. I have a family to support. I have all of this. And, it was just understanding that, hey, you know what? I'll be took care of. It's going to take time. Just be patient and be, persistent. Don't be afraid to follow up. Don't be afraid to send, after you have that interview, send that email saying, hey, I appreciate it. A lot of people don't key in on that and understand that that's you taking the extra time that a company sees. They're saying, hey, okay, you know what? That simple thank you, 9 times out of 10 goes a lot further than what we perceive.
Absolutely. We really appreciate
Mhm.
your perspective, and I'm gonna kind of pass it off to Edson over here to ask questions.
Thank you for sharing those nuggets as far as you navigating through your career and making it to where you are today. But for my question is for students that are, I feel like students are sometimes in the mindset of I'm majoring in this, so I have to make sure that I'm in this career, right? What advice or information can you share from your story as far as like how to navigate or how to let them know that look, if you don't end up in the field of your study, it's okay.
Oh, absolutely. 100% it's okay. You got to keep in mind and you got to always remember that, yeah, your degree is your degree. It's what you worked for. It's what you studied. It's what you really placed your focus inside of. But there's so many different positions that are out there. You know, you can look at a company like CMEX where we have, yes, we have ready mix truck drivers, we have block tenders, we have area managers, we have plant managers, but we also have individuals that are in sales. We have individuals that are in environmental specialists that are out there. The the organization is so big, but it's like, don't focus just in on the one. Hey, that opportunity can come to you, and to kind of tie it all together, you might see a job that's there for like a sales individual. You can apply to that job. Hey, you picked up and you get that job. Now you have the opportunity. You're inside the organization, and it's like, hey, I really want to get into the engineering side of the house. Now you're internally can start seeing when opportunities like that open. Plus, you kind of established yourself. As long as you're doing good and you're not, making mistakes and not showing up to work or doing stuff like that and getting a bad name, you know, you have those opportunities that'll be afforded that you can then start branching over into what you degree in it. It's just sometimes we can't take the direct approach. We just have to define the workaround and follow through with it.
Right. What do you think is the reason for why individuals might just feel like, they're scared to make that jump? They're scared to look at other opportunities. What do you think is the cause of that? Do you think it's pressure? Do you think, it's from family saying, we want you to do this? Like, what do you think that comes from?
It's taking the step to the unknown. And it's really what it comes down to being is individuals having to take that step into the unknown. It's something that is outside of the normal, outside of the comfort zone. It's what I call an emotional hiccup. An emotional hiccup. So we all know the emotional hiccups when you get that good feeling inside of you, you kind of get goosebumps on the skin, and you're like, hey, this is all panning out, this is all working perfectly. And those emotional hiccups come that initially we graduate from college, we have that emotional hiccup. Hey, I've got the degree, I've got the paper, but now the real work begins. And you've exerted all this time, all this work, all this effort in college, and it's you have that emotional hiccup, and it's understanding, okay, now I'm pumped and I'm excited, but like with hiccups, they subside. They go away. They might last 20 minutes. They might last an hour. If you're unfortunate, maybe days, weeks at a time, but hopefully not. But with that the thing is they subside. So for individuals, it's kind of what halts them is that they're afraid to take that step in the unknown. They want the comfort zone. And, it's where you have to become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And being uncomfortable, like at the end of the day, is hey, if you're uncomfortable, that means you're learning. And that's the truth. When the math teacher puts the big problem up on the board and says nobody can solve this math problem, everybody in the classroom is uncomfortable. To be honest with you, the teacher's even uncomfortable because what if somebody steps up there and solves that problem within 5 seconds? Now he's like, okay, or she's like, okay, great. Now you get what I'm saying? So you got to go back and kind of look at it and say, it's just become being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And it will work out, and just be persistent at the end of the day.
So, as students or individuals graduating, looking for work and finding jobs, how important do you think mentorship is? And do you have a mentor, and what has that mentor done for you?
Mentors, a mentor? No, I don't have a mentor. I probably have 50 to 60 mentors. There's different individuals, different people that I've worked with, engaged with throughout my military career, even within the organization now that where I'm at, that are my mentors that I turn to and say, hey, when I have that reason of doubt of like, I'm not really certain about this, and I second guess myself and I'm having that hesitation of wanting to push forward, I turn to a mentor and say, hey, this is my thought process, and, they'll say, what you're comfortable. Are you comfortable? And that's one of my biggest things. It's like, you got to be uncomfortable, but get after it. take the step, submit what you have, and let's see what happens. And there are certain ones that I have flourished immensely in my career, and there's some situations in which, I stumbled, I failed, but I picked myself up, dusted myself off, said, okay, hey, how did I fall? All right, this is where I fell. And it helped me identify kinks in the chain. And we all know that with a chain, engineering, with a chain, if it's bound together, it's weaker than if it's just elongated by itself. So it's just about finding those kinks as you go along the way to get the chain straight. Well, once you got it straight, there's no stopping you.
Absolutely. Honestly, really appreciate your perspective over here. And that's it for me, unless Edson has any further questions.
I think I'm good unless there's any last information you want to share. Is there anything particular you would like to share about CEMEX or the floor is yours. If you have anything last minute thing that you want to share.
The only other thing is I'll say is don't always look for the job title. Look for the opportunities that are out there. We have such programs as our talent development program. This is a way for you to be able to come into an organization and it's a great program that we have at CEMEX. It's a year-long program that individuals get to come in and they get to learn the many different parts that we have, not just to the ready mix side. We get to learn about the aggregate side, what conducts the operations into being a building supplier company. At the end of the day, you get those experiences and those opportunities. So you get to develop even more mentors in that process that, hey, from this side, from the aggregate side, this individual taught me this, and it becomes a connection. And it's about one of the biggest aspects, I would say, the family unity that I have found within CEMEX, coming from 23 years in the military. I will say it's unmatched. I tell my wife and my kids all the time, it's like, I'm grateful to be given the opportunity I had, but it was a step. I had to be uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable because I was like, I have absolutely no idea. But come up on a year in March with the company, and I will say that I made the best decision of my life, was making the choice to move with them.
That's truly amazing to hear. And honestly, from my personal perspective, everything you had to say today was very insightful, and I bet our students are going to greatly appreciate it. And we thank you so much for coming out today to speak.
Always happy to help.
Thank
All
you.
right, thank you, Jack, so much from CEMEX. They will be here at the career fair February 11th, so come and check them out, as well as our other companies that will be attending. But Jack, thanks so much. You've been wonderful. And for everyone, have a phenomenal evening.